Hey, what's up everybody? Peeps here. I wanted to upload a deck profile of the Earth Machine list that I took to the Des Moines, Iowa Regional this past weekend, October 7th. I was super impressed with this list. I was impressed with how I played, except for the last round, which whatever, I was close to a top 8. I got 11th. Like I said, I went X2 and it was really close. There was definitely a world where I played a little bit better and got a top 8. So I'm really impressed with how the deck did. I think it was really good. I think the choices I made were great. There are definitely some non-standard engines when it comes to Earth Machine stuff that I am super excited to talk about and give some detail on and explain why I played it. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right in. Let's start with the main deck. It's a 40-card main deck, and I'll start off with starters, move on to extenders and engine pieces, and then I will talk about non-engine. So for starters, of course, we got to talk about the best normal summon in all of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is Infinitrack Harvester. This card is crazy. It does everything. It's a 1-card combo on its own to get you to the draw 2 plus Anger Knuckle. It also is the level modulation effect allows you to OTK going second now that we have Regulus, which we've had for a while, but you can do the combo in such a way where you go Harvester, search Dozer, effect, summon Dozer, and then summon Trencher. You make Stormer to search Regulus. Then you use the Trencher to summon back this Harvester. Harvester targets Regulus to make these both level 10s, and then you make Gustav Liebe right there. So by itself, it is a 1-card combo to OTK, and it is insulated through Garnet. That combo is insulated through Garnets. So if you draw Ancient Gearbox, you can still, just with this 1 card, like, it doesn't have to interact with Ballista or Ancient Gearbox at all. I mean, unless you need to use Ballista to reduce an attack of a monster, but that doesn't require a box being in the deck still. So, pretty cool. Next up is 3 Scrap Recycler. So this is pretty weird. It is definitely non-standard, but there's a lot of cool stuff that this card can do. It sends any machine, which for the most part will be Harvester if you're using it as a starter. It's not a 1-card combo on its own. It does require a machine extender, but there are so many of those in the deck that it is still valuable, and it's very flexible. You can do things like send Citadel, you can send Regulus if you have a Regulus in hand, so you can go Regulus, target Regulus, which is very strong. Yeah, it just does a lot. The combo for it is you summon it, send Harvester, and then you summon your extender, link the 2 off into Ballista, Ballista search Box, Box search Trencher, you summon the Trencher, link it off to get an engrave, then you Trencher effect for Harvester, which gets you to Dozer, which is full combo. So pretty cool. I enjoyed playing this over the Machina stuff. You'll see throughout this profile, I don't play Gearframe, I don't play Uncla Spare, I don't play all that. I do play not Ruin Force, I play Citadel and Overdrive, but those are the only Machina cards that I play. The other ones, there's just so many bricks and clunky cards that you are incentivized to play if you play the Machina cards that it just wasn't worth it to me. I just wanted a better normal summon that didn't require another brick to play. So I played Recycler, and it was awesome. I loved it all tournament. And it's also a level 3 machine, so there are some niche situations where you can go Harvester, target Recycler, make them both level 5s, and then make Stormer that way. It doesn't come up a lot, but it can. It did come up for me twice at the tournament, so yeah. And then I played 3 Heavy Forward. It's tanky for Infinitrax, so pretty good. Your main punish is you normal one of these, and then they interact with it with a hand trap, and then you activate Heavy Forward to search for Dozer anyway, so pretty cool. And then I played 3 Foolish Goods and a Clockwork Knight. So this card, this was probably my favorite engine of the entire weekend. I was inspired to play it by some theory about Unchained, actually, that Joshua Schmidt talked about in his deck building, or on one of his streams. He was saying how in Unchained, even though you are playing a brick by playing the DDD engine, it's still worth it because the thing that the contract engine allows you to do makes your deck like so flexible, and it's really powerful, raises the ceiling. And I was like, well, wait a minute. That could be translated to Earth Machine as well, because if you play Foolish Goods and a Clockwork Knight, that literally searches your entire deck. For those of you that don't know, Clockwork Knight's grave effect is you can banish it from the grave, discard 1, and then search for any Earth Machine. So you can use it as a starter to search Harvester. You can use it to search an extender. You can use it to search Regulus, which is massive. So like if you draw into Foolish Goods at the end of a Tunneler combo, you can just Foolish Goods for Clockwork Knight, or you can Foolish Goods for Overdrive if you wanted to get another random draw, which I do play Overdrive as well. So Overdrive was still good to include, even though I'm not playing Redeployment or any other Machina engine cards. I loved having this in the deck as something that is just there for, accessibility to shuffle back my Dozer targets. It makes the longevity of the deck crazy because you can shuffle back like Tunneler, and then later on in the game you can use Tunneler again to shuffle back more cards. So it was really good to include as a one of. I wouldn't play any more of it, but it was great. Also, Clockwork Knight, I do just want to talk about this card. It's really funny. You might think it's like a really bad brick if you draw it, but it adds a funny amount of board presence, I guess. Like, there were matchups at the regional that I just won games from because I opened Clockwork Knight. I won a game against Unchained because I opened Clockwork Knight, and I won 2 games versus Plant because I opened up Clockwork Knight. So really funny. I think this card's hilarious, and just the fact that it searches everything in your deck is great. So it's a really nice inclusion. I wouldn't play any more than one of it because you don't want to like depend on some weird like type changing effect to win you the game. But there are matchups that are just made a lot harder for your opponent if you do draw it. There's like Plant, there's Unchained, there's any cyber stack like Salamangreat, like anything that their types matter, it's good. It's also, okay, one last thing about it. If your opponent plays Zombie World, it turns everything into zombies, and then you can start your turn by just activating Clockwork Knight and overriding the Zombie World effect. So there are things that like matter by having Clockwork Knight in the deck. So I liked it a lot. Extenders and engine pieces. First up, Regulus. 3 copies of it. Another reason why I didn't want to play the Machina stuff is because the Machina engine is really big. Like you have Gearframe, Unclaspare, Redeployment, Citadel, Fortress, Overdrive, Ruin Force. It takes up so much stuff in your deck, and you have to shave things that are really important to have like a 3rd Regulus, right? I really, really wanted 3 Regulus, and it was great all day. I always wanted to see this card. Going first or second, it adds so much to your boards, and it makes your going second game plans even better and stronger. So I loved having 3 of it. It was great to play it. Yeah, I don't know. There's not much to say there. It's Regulus. It also sends itself for cost, which is very important for another card I play in my main deck. A little bit of foreshadowing there. But anyway, next up for extenders, we have, of course, the Dozer, which is your main extender. It's the combo piece that gets you to Riverstormer. I don't play more than one of it. If you're playing against anybody that knows how to play against this deck, they're not going to hand trap your normal summon. They're going to save a hand trap for the Dozer, and then there's no reason to play multiple Dozer at that point because it doesn't add anything through hand traps at all. So just play one of it. Next is Trencher. This is your Mizuki for Infinitrax. I do only play one of this. I play 1 Tunneler as well. But I cut the 2nd Trencher for 1 Road Roller, and I could not be more happy that I did. This card was amazing. It adds so much to the turn 1. To explain, if you've played Earth Machine in the past, you have been in situations like this where you have opened Harvester and another heavy forward, or you've already opened Harvester Dozer, or you've opened Harvester in a different level 5. So there are just a lot of situations where you kind of clunk on so many different engine pieces as it is, where you can't like proactively add something else. But Road Roller is something that's really, really nice to have. One thing that's super important is, for those of you that don't know, its effect is if an Earth Machine monster is tributed or banished face up, you can special summon this from the graveyard if it was there when the monster was tributed or banished, or hand, even if not, but then banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use that effect once per turn. And then an Xyz monster whose original type is machine that has this card as a material can do like a semi-Baguska effect. It changes everything to defense, and then they lose 1,000 defense. So that effect doesn't come up a lot, but the thing that does come up is the thing to put itself on the board when it's tributed. It also allows you to make Mountain Smasher during your turn 1 line, if you have access to this, and having Mountain Smasher in your grave as part of your setup is really good. When we'll get to the extra, we'll talk about it when we get to the extra deck. But the other thing is that it chain blocks Dozer. So if you, like if they hold hand traps for the Dozer, and you normal Harvester and you already have a heavy forward, and you search for Road Roller, or you search for Dozer and then use your heavy forward to search for Road Roller, you Dozer, Tribute the Harvester, you go Dozer Chainlink 1, Road Roller Chainlink 2, and that protects the Dozer from Ash Blossom. And then they're not going to use an effect negation on that because you're already going to have 2 level 5s, so a Veiler would be like, or an Imperm there would be no purpose to it, right? So Dozer or Road Roller was great. I will definitely continue to play this card. Phenomenal card. I think it adds a lot of value to the deck. That was another reason I wanted to play a smaller supplemental engine instead of something like Machina, because I wanted to fit this card in really, really badly. So I played a Bullet Train, a Gearframe, and a Citadel. I did still play this card. Citadel adds a lot of value because you can send it off a Scrap Recycler. There's cool things you can do, like when you activate Urgent Schedule, you can summon Recycler and Citadel, and then you can summon Wyvern. And then, the Wyvern plays are very strong. Another reason why Recycler is really good, because it gives you a push through D barrier. And then Citadel is just a really good boss monster. So I definitely was happy to include that. And then my best friend, the one of who it is unbelievable how much this card shows up in my hand. I truly can't believe it. It's a statistical anomaly. Whenever you put Ancient Gearbox in a deck, you just will draw it. I can't believe it, but whatever. And then starting off with non-engine, this is still kind of a part of the engine, but it feels like a piece of non-engine, especially when you're going second, because Urgent Schedule is basically game winning. If you activate this card and it resolves, it puts so much pressure on your opponent. It summons 2 machines, it threatens Liba, it goes, it summons Scrap Wyvern, which threatens their board. It does a lot. This card was really strong. I was happy that it was in my main deck, but one of the kind of mistakes in deck building is that I think I should have played 2 in the main deck. It is a use, not an activate, so if you open multiples of it, you will never be able to use the second one, because if they negate it, you won't be able to you won't be able to use it, right? You can set it during your first turn and try to block attacks or something like that, but it's 2023, like that never really comes up. So it was very strong. It definitely helped me win games throughout the day, but I think I would have been better shaving a copy of it for something like a Talents rather than maining 3 of it. So I will be moving 1 to the side, and that was another mistake of this deck building, is that I did not put Triple Tactics Talent anywhere in my list. So that will be something I edit, and 1 Talents is going to go in over the 3rd Urgent Schedule. So, but this card is phenomenal. And then, of course, the best non-engine that Earth Machine can play is Forbidden Droplet, which is, it makes me very happy that Arise Heart got banned, because when Arise Heart was in the format, can't play this card, but now that it's gone, we can. And it is phenomenal for this deck specifically. You can go cool stuff like activate Urgent Schedule as Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2 Forbidden Droplet, send the Urgent Schedule. It helps you play through Droll, because you go like normal Harvester to add Dozer, and then you hold priority. You activate Forbidden Droplet, send a monster with holding the quick effect priority, and then they can't Droll you after you've added, because they can't respond with a monster. And I did that, I think, 4 times. I don't know if it mattered. I don't know if they had Droll at any point, but I just did it anyway, because 1 Harvester resolution going second is game if you can search Regulus, but you have to search twice in order to do it. So using Forbidden Droplet to dodge Droll is phenomenal. So then the next thing I played was 3 Chalice, my wife. I love this card. Chalice was surprisingly good all day. It just blanks problematic effects that your opponent has, right? I don't know. It's really good against something like Dweller, a lot better than something like Imperm is. And yeah, I don't know. I like this card a lot. I was very impressed with it. You can use it defensively during your first turn. You can use it offensively when you're going second and needing to negate effects. I was really scared of Dweller all day, and I never ran into it, but Chalice would have been in my main deck to stop that kind of stuff. So I don't think I would cut it. I might cut one. I think my changes are gonna. I'll talk about it a little bit actually. And the other card I played was Imperm. This card sucked actually. I think this is the weakest card of my main deck. It was really bad. Since this was my only hand trap, I ended up holding it for my turn anyway. And even then, I was just like, dang, I wish this was Chalice, because I have to start my turn with Imperm. And there are just situations where you would rather have Chalice in your hand to negate something in the middle of the turn, or like Droplet. And it just would be better if it wasn't Imperm. I mean, it's not like... There were times where I went first and I did my combo and I drew into Imperm and had like 2 copies of it, and it was fine. It could have been something else and it would have performed a lot better. I think actually something I want to put into the main deck of this, depending on how like lists in Age of Overlord look, I think Eclipse should be in this deck. I'm thinking more about it now, and Eclipse just seems like a type of card that would be extremely strong, because this deck can clear boards really easily, it can make Zeus really easily, and booking all your opponent's monsters just feels really good. Even though like Kashtira is not in the format, I don't know. I'll test around with it, but Imperm, I don't think that card is very good in this format. I was not impressed with this card. Like I said, I think it was the weakest card in my main deck. But the strongest card of my main deck, baby, that's right, 3 Skill Drain. This card is phenomenal. It is so good. It was definitely the reason I won a lot of my games. I will not even front. It was very good. I played against Flu twice, and because this card was in my main deck, it was incredible. Every time I saw this card, it was winning me the game 100% of the time. It's good against Pearly because the Noir is only affected by activated effects. So as soon as you establish a skill drain, the Noir is just on its effect is negated. This deck can play really well through it because we play Citadel. So having Citadel that keeps floating, it means you win the War of Attrition every time. This card was awesome. I'm so happy I decided to main it. It was a decision I made like the week before the regional, and I could not be more happy with it. I probably will be playing Skill Drain at 3 in every iteration of Earth Machine I come up with for the foreseeable future, because it was just that good throughout the tournament. For extra deck, that's a 40 card main, by the way. I don't want to go over 40 because I want my deck to be as consistent as possible. And I want to use my Tunneler effect to draw into Skill Drain, of course. I'm just kidding, kind of, not really. Okay, so for the extra deck, it's 3 Goliath, best link one of the game, and then 1 Ballista. So Ballista is your engine piece to get you to box, which gets you to Tunneler for your draw 2. But also its second effect is extremely relevant, a very, very relevant effect that people need to know about, is its attack reduction, okay? So a lot of people refer to the Ballista's attack reduction effect as a secret effect. It is not a secret effect. It is so just pivotal to your game plan that you have to understand that that is a win condition, especially with something like Regulus. Another reason I want to play 3 of this is... if you have Regulus and you have a play to get to Ballista, you activate Regulus targeting a machine. You summon the Regulus puts the machine in the spell trap zone, which gives you a spell trap target for Ballista. And then you can Ballista pop the machine that you summoned with Regulus, or that you equipped with Regulus, and then you can go for Gustav and Liba to swing into the 0 attack monster for 6,000, which is game. So this card is super good. Its attack reduction effect is part of your main game plan. Do not consider it a secret effect. You should be like constantly evaluating if you can get game with Ballista throughout your games that you play with this deck. And then next up, I played 2 Anger Knuckle. This, you don't need to play 2. I honestly didn't know what else to include over the second Anger Knuckle. You can get away with 1. I was worried about Droll Lockbird banishing it, and I wanted a second one in the extra deck just in case. But, like, if I'm worried about DD Crow banishing an extra deck monster, I probably should have played a second River Stormer instead, because, like, that's really the card that gets you to winning game states in turn 3 and beyond. So, I don't know. It doesn't need to be 2 Anger Knuckle. I probably will switch it for something. I just didn't know what. So it never came up where I needed a second one, but it felt good having it, I guess. I don't know. Not necessary, though. Scrap Wyvern. Card was awesome. This is your main playthrough D barrier. So if you do something like activate Urgent Schedule, you go into Recycler and Citadel, and then you use the Wyvern effect to summon a scrap monster in your grave, which will be the Recycler, which is an Earth Machine, and then destroy it. And then that triggers Wyvern's second effect. So you go Wyvern Chainlink 1, Citadel Chainlink 2, and then the Scrap Wyvern is chain blocked. So that effect to summon a scrap and destroy summons from deck. So it is technically ashable, but having Citadel activate as Chainlink 2 chain blocks the Wyvern. And then you'll just destroy a card. It doesn't target a new chain or anything like that. It just destroys a card on the field as part of the effect. So I caught a lot of opponents off guard with that throughout the tournament. Really good card. I'm very thankful that I decided to play Scrap Recycler instead of any of the Machina stuff, because it gave me access to this, and this card was amazing. And then the last Link monster in the extra deck is one Lingaribo. It never came up throughout the regional, but it has come up in the past. There's no reason not to play it. You have room in the extra deck. If you don't play it, you're just opening up a lose condition, right? So just play the Lingaribo. It's really good. There you go. There's my PSA about Lingaribo. So that's it for the Link monsters. And then I played one Riverstormer. This is your main engine extra deck monster. It's very good. And then weird MVP of the tournament was Mountain Smasher. I ended up making this card a ton. So to explain why having Mountain Smasher as part of your turn 1 combo is so good, because if you do your full turn 1 combo and if you add Mountain Smasher to it, you can, and Road Roller is what allows you to do that, by the way, but you can either shuffle back the Mountain Smasher, so you're shuffling back Goliath, 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 Ballista, Mountain Smasher, which is 5 extra deck pieces. If your hand is lacking non-engine or interruptions, you can do that, which will, you'll not shuffle back a main deck monster, which will make it more likely that you draw into a piece of non-engine by shuffling back 5 extra deck cards. Or you can, what I did most of the time, is leave this in the grave. So if your grave is set up to look like this, where you have Knuckle, Mountain Smasher, and Riverstormer in it, it turns any card in the game into any Earth Machine. And what I mean by that is Anger Knuckle's graveyard effect is you can send a card from your hand or field to the graveyard to special summon it from the graveyard. So let's pretend this is my graveyard. I am going to go Anger Knuckle's effect, summon itself, sending Skill Drain. I will use Mountain Smasher's effect to tribute Anger Knuckle to summon it. I will link off the Mountain Smasher for a copy of Goliath. I will use Riverstormer's effect, tributing the Goliath to summon itself. And then I will use Goliath effect to attach the Riverstormer. And then I'll use the Riverstormer to search for any Earth Machine in the game. So without playing Road Roller, there really wasn't a consistent way to get another Infinitrack Xyz in the grave besides Riverstormer. I know some people are going to be like, well, technically you could do Harvester Target Fortress to get Earth Slicer, and that could set that up in the grave. But let's be honest, that does not happen every game. It's very situational where that happens, whereas with including Road Roller, you're pretty much always making Mountain Smasher as part of the combo. So I was really happy that I included this card in the deck. It was, honestly, like I said, it was an MVP. It makes itself huge. It makes itself 31, so it makes it's very easy to run over stuff and make Zeus if you need to do that. I don't know. I was very impressed with this card. I will continue to play it moving forward. As long as the Road Roller's in the deck, this card's going to be in there too. I don't make any way to make 9s. I understand that Earth Slicer has the interaction where you can blow up your own cards to summon Citadel, but Scrap Wyvern is just kind of better in my opinion. So I liked playing Recycler and Scrap Wyvern instead. So I didn't play any 9s. So moving on to the 10s, I played a Superdora, a Gustav Max, and a Liba. Yeah, there you go. That's pretty simple. Your main win condition there. And then my last extra deck cards was 2 copies of Zeus. I still like 2 Zeus a lot in this deck. I know Unicorn isn't like that big of a deal anymore, but 2 Zeus allows you to make Zeus in main phase 1 with Harvester and a level 10. And then if you get into a game state where you swing with the Zeus and, you can just summon another one on top of it. Or you can, I don't know, just make 2 Zeus throughout the game. It's just a really good card in this deck. Zeus has a lot of good interaction, like Goliath attaches itself to any machine it sees, so Goliath can attach to Zeus. You can also Regulus. This is a pretty neat interaction. Just explaining again how good of a card Regulus is. You can also Regulus, activate its effect, targeting a Goliath to equip to it. And then if you have a Zeus on board, you'll Regulus negate something, and the Goliath still treats itself as being sent from field to grave, so you Goliath, target Zeus, and attach to it in that way. So Regulus just does a lot of cool stuff, and Zeus also interacts very well with the deck. So people say like Pearly is the best Zeus deck. No. Earth Machine is the best Zeus deck, baby. So yeah, definitely happy to play 2 Zeus. I made 2 Zeus, I think 3 matches out of the 8 that I played at the regional. So really good. And then for the side deck, this was definitely the weakest part of my deck building. There were definitely cards I should have played that probably would have made my run a little bit better, but we'll discuss that in a sec. I played 3 Droll, which was amazing. I loved having this in the side deck. I played 3 Crow. This card was also very good. This won me a game against Unchained on top of some other stuff. Definitely worthwhile. It's also good against Pearly. I played 3 Kaiju. This one was a weaker pick in my extra deck. I don't know. This card was like fine. It's good in theory, but it just never really came up where it was like the thing that was helping me win the game. To be honest, I think Nibiru, it was a card that my deck list was sorely lacking. Yeah, so I don't know. I might play the Kaiju in the future, but it was... I think if I put something like Eclipse in the main deck, I won't need to depend on a Kaiju, but I don't know. I also I don't own Thrust, so skill issue, I guess. I played 2 Duster and a Lightning Storm just to have for back row removal. Oh, another thing that was touchy is I don't have a good way to out Tikaboo in this list. So that maybe these should be some amount of Cosmic Cyclone or something like that. I think Thrust really would be good because I could Thrust for Duster if Tikaboo was on the board, but yeah, no, I didn't have a lot of... Thankfully, I dodged it all tournaments, so that was nice. And then this was definitely the weakest card on my list. I played an additional Floodgate because I wanted to really seal the deal going first, but this was a mistake. I should not have played Goes in my side deck. It just was not impactful at all. In theory, it's good against things like Vanquish Soul or Branded Chimera, that kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot of applications where it does come up in theory, but I think siding it, I should not have sided it. I should have... This could have been Cosmic Cyclone, this could have been Eclipse, this could have been anything, really, and I decided to play another Going First card, which was a bad choice. I should not have done that, so definitely a detriment to the deck building there. But, you know, that's all part of learning and growing as a player. You figure out what you did wrong when playing, but also what you did wrong when building your deck, right? And I think this tournament was really good, even though I did perform pretty well. 11th place is the highest placement I've had at a higher tier event. It's still important to say, like, okay, what did I do wrong? You know, what was I doing wrong in deck building? What was I doing wrong in playing? All that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's the deck, main, side, and extra. I was really impressed with it. I was impressed that my own theory with the whole Scrap Recycler stuff paid off super well. Yeah, so with all that being said, I appreciate you all for watching. Hope you enjoy.